Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program, Boracay 2.0.
The island has already managed to adjust to its very good pace in receiving guests any time of the year.
1 year since its closure, authorities say a lot has improved, but clearly more things need to be done.
As of date, I think we are at 60% or something like 1,600 out of 2,800 more or less establishments that we've inspected.
How do they keep the island in check as swarms of tourists violate local ordinances? Interior and Local Government Undersecretary Epimaco Densing joins us live. And later, a scientific breakthrough.
We call it Luzonensis because it's found in Luzon. It might be in other islands too.
Meet the Homo luzonensis.
The family tree is now more complicated.
Archaeologist and UP professor Armand Mijares tells us more live. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. From Boracay, the government wants tourists to love Boracay more. The Interagency Task Force in charge of rehabilitating the island says its job is far from over, a year after Boracay's 6-month closure, and a lot of things still need to be done. The Environment Department says water quality has significantly improved and Boracay is slowly reverting to acceptable standards. But carrying out local ordinances is a challenge, especially with the return of tourists to the world-class tourist destination. Our Trisha Terada is in Boracay and she gives us a rundown of what is happening today.
It's not just going to be a commemoration of the island's closure. Instead, authorities are celebrating Boracay version 2.0. And since we're not having Le Boracay on May 1st, or instead of having that, we're going to have Love Boracay, and it kicks off today. In fact, a series of activities have been lined up for that. There's a water festival, there's also Fire Olympics, drone film festival, dive fest, and as you can see right beside me, they're already setting up the Parao for Parao sailing as part of the activities lined up today. So it's all about really making a better Boracay. Authorities say many changes have been carried out a year after the island shut down for much needed rehabilitation. Environment Secretary Royce Imatu says coliform level has significantly gone down while the water has been cleared of algae. Travel time from Cagban Port, this is the gateway or jump-off point from Caticlan to the island, has been reduced by half, while roads have been cleared of obstructions. But officials admit there's more work ahead on road infrastructure.
We hope and we expect really that it will be completed within the year. That's really one of the reasons why we were not able to complete the road within the prescribed period.
Within New Boracay, the local government says it is adopting a stricter policy for business owners and tourists.
Wala na pong palakasan, hindi na po pwede yun. Saka marami nagtatampo dahil sa kahipitan po natin. Dapat ngayon simulan na talaga, sundan natin yung rehabilitation ng infrastructure. Sundan na rin po yung rehabilitation sa mga tao na dapat sumunod na talaga sa batas.
Members of the Boracay Interagency Task Force caught some locals building some sand castles. Authorities reminded them and even the tourists not to patronize these sand castles because it's already illegal. So they had to take these sand castles down and to remind them that these come with corresponding penalties.
That's Trisha Terada reporting from Boracay, and we will give you more updates on this story as soon as they become available to us. A groundbreaking discovery. A team of archaeologists and experts from the University of the Philippines discovers Homo luzonensis. The new species is based on bones and teeth discovered in a cave in Cagayan province that dates 50,000 years ago. The remains have features common to modern and early humans. The archaeological discovery is considered one of the most important contributions of the Philippines in understanding mankind's origins. Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have archaeologist and UP professor Armand Mijares, who I need to congratulate. Professor, good to have you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
To you and your team.
Yes.
Of course. Why do I say congratulations? Because apart from the discovery let's start already with that, Professor, the article. Tell us how important this is.
Well, Nature, and the cover paper of Nature, is the highest scientific journal in the world. Most scientific journals would rank like impact factor 2. There are only two journals beyond impact factor 2, and Nature is the highest. No? If you're a scientist, you always dream to be publishing in Nature. No? Nature accept 15,000 applications,
Yeah.
and they will only publish about 1,000. No? And very few Filipinos ever publish in Nature. And it's not only that. No? There's 3 levels of Nature publication, what you call the communication, the letter, and the article, the highest one. And we have a 4 article. Plus, we're in Nature cover, which is very, very rare.
Nature article, and plus it's also the cover.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's talk about it now. It's called Homo luzonensis.
Yes.
I pronounced it correctly.
Yes, luzonensis.
So what it really is we have a replica here, is that they're fossils, they're bones and teeth discovered in 3 years, three different years.
Yes, 3 excavation seasons.
Tell us more about that.
Well, I started excavating first before in 2003 for my dissertation, but I didn't go in deep enough. In 2004, the Homo florensensis from Flores Island was published in Nature. What they did was, to go deeper than normal.
What's deeper than normal? What is normal?
Most Filipino archaeologists then would only dip cave sites up to a maximum of 2 meters, and then they will stop, because there's nothing there. It's sterile. But then, if you go, for what I did, I went beyond.
You went 3 meters?
Well, I went beyond up to 4 meters. But the fossils are actually only at 2.6 meters from surface. So it's actually not that as deep as most people think. No? But you have to go deep. And that's what we did in 2007 when we found the first bone. This was the first bone.
That's the first bone you found
in 2007.
Yeah.
At the time, we published it with Journal of Human Evolution, but we cannot say it yet as a new species because we only have 1 bone. Although at the time, we already have inkling that it might be different. No? So you see, it's very small. This is a standard Homo sapiens, our species.
Wait, you got to tell us what a Homo sapien is.
Our species, we're Homo sapiens. No? And this is now what you call the Homo luzonensis. It's very, very small. Although when we compare in terms of the total length of the metatarsals of foot bone, it's within the size range of a Filipino negrito. So it's not, by bone per se, it's not as small as we think. But maybe it's because there are other features that we have. In 2015, we collected all of these new artifacts, except for this one. So we have, by the time, we have 2 foot bone and 2 hand bone, a set of teeth, and a juvenile femur.
Juvenile femoral shaft would be the legs, no?
Yeah, this is your tight bone. Yes.
So this is the hand. Let me show that again. Hand bone.
Yes.
This is the foot bone.
Foot bone.
And this is the leg
Yes.
bone. What is this?
That's this one. That's the another foot bone.
I see. And obviously these are the
teeth.
The teeth. Professor, in your 3 years, in the 3 years of excavation, 3 different years, this is what you came up with. These
Yes.
are the findings. This is what you
There
discovered.
are 2 more. It's not there, but generally that's the samples.
So, moving forward, what did you find out after? I mean, actually, no, let's not go there. When you first discovered it, how big of a, how did you feel about that? What kind of fulfillment does one get from discovering bones?
Well, because when we're excavating, it's very deep. No? You have to go through a meter thick of clay, hard clay with nothing. So it's actually a bit depressing. You're digging every day in, out, nothing, until you find it. Then you feel relief. Finally, we have something. No? But of course, it has to go through a lot of analysis. So the specimen has to be sent to France for the morphological analysis. I have to bring it to Australia for dating analysis. So it took a lot of effort from the team to be able to...
France is what of analysis?
They did all the morphological analysis. So the CT scans, the 3D scans, plus the comparative materials that they have. Unfortunately, we don't have the comparative materials here. So we have to be sent to France with my colleague from Etoile. And then for Australia, the dating technique by Renyo Grun.
The dating technique is, tell us how that is. That's actually my question, which when I read about it, there's this thing called
Uranium series.
uranium series or the U series.
The U
Is that
series.
how you calculate the age
Yes, yes.
of a fossil
Yes.
that is discovered?
Yes. The normal, the popular dating technique is what they call the radiocarbon dating.
Radiocarbon.
That's the
Okay.
most common one. But the radiocarbon dating is limited to time period. So it's only viable up to about 45 to at least 50,000 years ago. So these ones are more or less beyond the realm of radiocarbon dating. So we tried a number of dating techniques at the site. No? We use electron spin resonance. We use
You're using big words.
argon technique.
Okay.
We need thermoluminescence. All failed, except for one uranium series. When the bone gets buried, it absorbs uranium from the ground. So it accumulates.
Okay.
And that's what you measure actually.
It's the uranium
That
that
you-
buried the bone.
No. It's the uranium that being absorbed by the bone,
By the bone.
from the sediment.
I see.
So-
once it was
get
buried.
But the problem with uranium series is that's why we always state 50,000 is only the minimum age. It could go a lot older than 50,000 because once the bone is buried, it absorbs uranium. There are also times that it also leaches out uranium.
Yeah.
So it's not the total amount of uranium because it's in, out, in,
Yeah.
out. So what we have right now is what's been measured based on the current content of uranium from the bone. So it's only minimum.
At a minimum of 50,000.
Yes. So it can go as old as 300,000.
Wow.
We don't know.
All right, we'll be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, UP professor and archaeologist Armand Mijares. Professor, tell us about the team. Tell us about your team first. In 2007, it was...
In 2007, we started digging for the fossil. It was an all Filipino team, mostly from the National Museum and from the University of the Philippines. So when we discovered the first bone, it's only when we started collaborating with my colleague from France, from Etoile, who's actually a paleoanthropologist. He's the one who analyzed it. With my colleague Phil Piper, who's a zoo archaeologist. Because when we dug this in 2007, we didn't even identify the bone per se in situ because there were a lot of bones, but
Wow.
all our animal remains.
Yeah, you know, I need to ask you that question. How do you know if it's an animal bone or a
Yes.
human bone?
That's why you send it to a specialist. Like Phil Piper, he's a zoologist specialized on animal remains. So when he says it, oh, this is human, you can be able to
Just by the
separate.
naked eye. He
Yes,
doesn't
yes,
have to
yes.
conduct any
Well,
tests. He looks at it.
If you're a specialist, you would know your craft. So.
Okay. So it's funny because, you know, I wanted to find out the emotions of, you know, somebody who goes down, deep down, 2 meters, 2.5 meters, finds a bone. And then, of course, a relief. But
Yes.
you actually discovered something. But then you still don't know what this
Yes.
is. It could be an animal bone. It could be a human
Yes.
bone. And then that's when your team, your friends from Australia and France actually
Yes.
come in. Okay, so 2007 was an all-Filipino team,
Yes.
National Museum, UP.
Yes.
And then the next one was when they actually came in, the foreign archaeologists
Yes,
as well.
actually, in 2009, we also dug Calao Cave. But we didn't reporting it because we were zero fossil, none. So, but 2009, we already have an international contingent. I used to be the Philippine coordinator for the Erasmus program from Europe. So there's a lot of European students that comes to my site to volunteer to excavate. So since 2009, we've always been an international one. We have Europeans, some Australians,
Yeah.
and Filipino students coming in.
So I guess the next question is, why Calao? Why Cagayan? Bakit doon?
I started excavating Calao Cave in 1998 for my first cave, Minori Cave. And ever since I was working there, in 2003 for my dissertation, my supervisor, Peter Bellwood, said, we should have to excavate Calao again. And that will be part of your thesis. So I dug Calao Cave again by instruction of my professor, Peter Bellwood. And I guess we
It
got
proved lucky.
Yes, yes.
Is there any other place that you want to excavate that may prove some sort of possible discovery or archaeological find?
Well, ever since I've been looking around the Philippines, actually, you were showing Boracay. We actually surveyed Aklan, Malay, and Buranga. There are a lot of cave sites, and there are some potentials there. No, I'm actually also digging right now in Bulacan, in Biak na Bato, with my colleagues from Bulacan State University. There's promising site in Bulacan, so we are looking for it, not just in Caloocan.
So forgive this, this could be ignorant question. In the Philippines, if you were to dig or to excavate, where would you possibly have most discoveries or findings?
Well,
Would it be Luzon, Visayas,
that would be
Mindanao?
hard to estimate because the problem is, for a long time, when we talk about Philippine prehistory, we talk about Palawan only and Cagayan. Nobody has been really searching for other sites. Very few archaeologists in the Philippines. So we need to really hypen up, produce more archaeologists to be able to span what's happening in the Visayas, what's happening in Mindanao, what's happening in Samar. So because the data is so concentrated on where it was before, that's what we know.
Yeah, doon
But
kayo pumupunta.
I believe there are more fossils can be discovered. Maybe a new species.
Yeah.
We don't know, but we need to search for it.
Okay, so now let's talk about it. It's a Homo luzonensis. So
Yes.
you were telling us that, tell us more about this discovery now.
Well, it has a mosaic of features. So it cannot be Homo sapien.
It's not us.
Because it's not us. It's not our ancestor. It's a side branch of the Homo genus, that died out. It has peculiar features. For example, look at that. This is actually the teeth. This is the premolar and the molar. You can see how small it is.
Liit.
And what's also interesting is that we don't find with our species is that the premolars are big and the molars are small. Normally Homo sapiens would have large molars. This one doesn't have. So these features can only be found with a species called Paranthropus in Africa. But Paranthropus teeth are very, very big. This is the smallest among the teeth, among the hominid.
So why would it be a Paranthropus?
It cannot be because the size and the
So
features.
it's not. Okay.
The correlation is Paranthropus, the large premolars and small molars, but the rest is Homo sapien. This one is another
So now
controversial.
I'm still confused. So what is it?
It's a new species. Because species is what, if you fit the box of Homo sapien, then you're Homo sapien. If you fit the box of Homo erectus, then you're Homo erectus. If it fits the box of the Australopithecine, then you're Australopithecine.
Pero parang it
But
was
this
taken
one has
from different-
combination of
Correct.
one, so it won't fit one box.
So it's obviously a new
You have to
species,
create
yeah.
a new box called a new species, Homo luzonensis. Yes. And this one, the most controversial one, because
Why?
of this, it's a foot bone. But the curvature and the shape of it is similar to what they call the Australopithecines of Africa. It has curvature, and most people will saying this curvature would allow this creature to be able to climb trees better than most Homo sapiens. So actually the question, are they ground people or are they arboreal people? We believe still there are ground people, but maybe have better skills than Homo sapiens in climbing trees.
Are they, because of what I'm trying to digest, Professor, they're obviously a new species. Are they smaller people than what we are inclined to have seen or have visualized?
Yeah, because of the small teeth
And the small
bones, there are small-bodied creatures. How small, how tall, we don't know because we don't have the long bones, a proper long bone, to estimate stature. We don't have the skull or the mandible to estimate features. So at this time, hopefully, we go back to Caloocan and excavate, we find more.
That's what I was
bigger
going to
things.
ask you, because you must be even more excited to go
Yes.
back and excavate some more because of
Yes.
the findings. There
Yes.
must be more there to
Yes.
kind of like complete the picture.
Yes. We will try to excavate next year again and hopefully more diagnostic
Next
features.
year.
Yes.
Next year pa po.
Yes, because you need to, it's a cycle. Excavate, you publish, look for funds.
Yeah.
Excavate, publish, look for funds. So it's like it's a wheel.
Yeah, it's not as if you just go there and
Yes.
excavate and
Yes, you have to
go
apply for
back a
grants.
month ago and then do it again. In terms of funding, I was very interested to find out, is it hard to get funding for
The
this?
size, well, initially yes, because one, don't know it now. What's good was, for example, in 2007, when I first dug deeper, I was funded by UP, partially. And then I also got funds from my professor from Australia. So it's a joint thing from Australia, ANU, and UP. But once we publish the first article, then it's more easier to get
People to
funds.
come in and sponsor.
So I got like Werner Grant Foundation US and Leakey Foundation to fund my research. No? And of course, UP has always been there to support the excavation. So yeah, no? Hopefully now it's easier.
Especially with this, this Nature article. We'll be taking another short break. This is the SARS on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching the SARS on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, UP professor and archaeologist Armand Mijares. Professor, when you see something like this, na medyo you have put them together, and let's be clear pala, no, which I read, the discovery was 2 adults,
Two
tama
adults.
ho ba? And 1
Juvenile.
juvenile. What is a juvenile? How old would be
A juvenile would be a young kid,
Yeah,
probably from age of 2 to 6.
yun ang juvenile, hanggang 6
Yes.
years old lang yan. And an adult would be obviously...
There's some sub-adult, then adult.
there
These
is
are
one.
ranges when you approximate age.
Okay, I wanted to find out, and I hope it's okay with you, as an archaeologist, when you find something like this, now that you have put this together, the Homo luzonensis, do you visualize this human being, this person?
Well, yes. We try to, no? But again, it's all speculations.
Yeah.
You cannot officially say how it really looked like. No? But it looked like a small creature wandering around Luzon. The culture, we don't know exactly. We know they eat meat because it is with animal remains. The animal remains bones are with cut marks, but we don't have any tools. No tools, no stone tools, none. So it's difficult still to really reconstruct the environment and its physicality.
Yeah.
But of course, you imagine things.
Of course, I mean, you know, the reason I was asking you is even when you excavate and you find something, the kind of fulfillment that you feel is nothing that I would I can imagine, because
Yes.
number one, I don't know what you go through. I'm obviously not an archaeologist. I mean, it's so important to someone like you to be able to find something and then move fast forward to have a Nature article and even be the cover of this. It's the best thing possibly for
any scientist.
For
actually.
any scientist, right?
Yes.
For that matter. So I can imagine, because of the excitement, you visualize what kind of person this is, knowing
Yes.
it already
Yes.
that it is a person.
Yes.
Can you tell us more? Possibly small? I mean, just
Small,
it's not scientific, just...
My colleague from Atwa is now going into the next stage because of the foot bone's curvature. We need to have an analysis on a simulation analysis of how it walks. How's the locomotion?
Yes. How is it? How do you imagine that?
Well, there are programs that you can be able to simulate. No? Because we have done all the CT scans, we can at least approximate based on this curvature how it walks. But that's for the future. We're doing that next now. The teeth has to be analyzed because it has a particular use where. So we need to be able to approximate what kind of food created that damage in the teeth. So there's a particular thing.
Well, and if you were to look way, way, way back, 50,000, 67,000 years ago, what was the food back then?
Well, the Philippines has always been food scarce. An island's always food scarce. You know, you have a lot, unless you hunt, you don't really eat a lot. So most of the leaves, unless you know them, are not edible. So you have to experiment on things, like nuts or things like that. But we don't know yet, so in terms of the data.
Okay, why Luzonensis? Homo Luzonensis.
Initially, of course, the best one would be Homo Philippinensis, which is found in the Philippines. Unfortunately, in the 1920s, there was a publication on Homo Philippinensis with no holotype, with no fossil. So we cannot use the term. So by rule...
How can you have something like that with no fossils
Well,
discovered?
that was back in 1920s.
Okay.
Yes. So, using biogeography of the Philippines, you found in the biggest islands, it's Luzon. So it's called Luzonensis.
Okay. What are the challenges now you face moving forward? Just 2 more questions. The challenges that you face, and what is the significance of this discovery? Let's go to the challenges first, Professor.
Well, definitely I want to find more. No? It's like you almost clamor for something new, something to advance science. So yes, we will look for more fossils. I also want to train more people to explore other islands in the Philippines, to be able to do proper archaeology, not just in one small area, but across the Philippines. No? And with that, we could be able to, more discoveries. So that's the challenge for the university to produce more properly trained archaeologists.
Are there a lot of interest in this?
Well, there has been off and on, but I guess now there's more.
Yeah, for sure. Something like this has to happen, no?
Yes, yes.
Professor. Okay, what about the significance? What is the significance of
Well,
this new discovery?
it's, I guess, one of the most significant findings of the Philippines so far. It placed the Philippines in the center of the evolutionary debate. No? Before, we're just peripheral. Now we are the focus of the world. No? Our textbook has to be changed, but not our own textbooks. The whole textbook of the world needs to be changed. So in every textbook, whether in Spanish, German, or other language, if you read the human evolution section of that scientific book, you will see Homo lucenensis found in the Philippines. And that places us at the level of Homo erectus, of others, and genus Homo.
To yourself and the team behind this, congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Professor. And thank you for joining us, Professor Armand Mijares. Thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.